that it's an aspect that has been affecting a lot of people, and some people don't even notice. It's like they're working but they have their phone with them and they're always checking social media, like what
They're
are their
dependent
friends.
on it.
They're depending on it, and that's the scary part, where when you just realize that you have been losing sleep, or just all of the bad effects that you just talked about. And it's like, okay, let's take a break. Please be present, engage fully on your current activities, and just stop worrying about what other people are doing.
So I use those things. Also, the buddy system. And I've talked about this before. I have ADHD, and a lot of times, if I am going to be accompanied, I rather be accompanied by someone that's already working, because if
Yeah.
they're not, I get unfocused very easily. Like if I am here working and you're there just lounging, first of all,
Yeah.
I'm going to be very envious. But then, second
Yes.
of all, I'm going to get distracted easily, even if you're not talking to me, because I'm going to be like, I want to be there with Jess, just watching Friends. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to work. So, if
Yeah.
I'm going to be accompanied, I love to be around people that are also working, even if they're working on different things. Like, it really helps me mirror them in that sense.
And this year you'll start new habits. Let's say new habits, but you try to continue doing the things that have been helping you, and then you put into like perception, into a perspective, like all of the things that you did the last year, and you start realizing, okay, I accomplished this, I accomplished that. What do I need to do better this year to improve and to get this goal that I promised myself? Because sometimes we make promise with ourselves, and it's really hard to fulfill everything. And again, we try to be patient with ourselves, but also it's like a balance. Like try to make things work because of this discipline. So I don't know. It's just I think it's a way of being disciplined. Also, is rewarding yourself. Like celebrate those
Yeah.
milestones on progress. When you know that you have accomplished something that you promise yourself, reward yourself. Welcome to the Hard Hot Podcast, your go-to guide for mastering remote work and advancing your career.
Whether you're in Latin America or anywhere in the world, we're here to equip you with tools and insights you need to thrive in today's job market.
I am Jess Torres.
And I am Gabby Morales. Let's dive in and unlock the endless possibilities of remote work.
You are right, Gabby. So let's start by talking why taking a break from digital devices is so important in today's busy world. We've lived in a world where the average person checks their phone over 100 times a day. Did you know that? For remote workers, that number might be even higher because work is just a click away. So, studies show that too much screen time can lead into burnout, anxiety, and even impact our physical health. So, my first question, Gabby, is why is it so important to unplug from technology, especially for remote workers?
Well, for me, as a remote worker, I feel like the biggest and the most important reason is mental health. Um, Technology, the way that we use it today, is so far off from the way that human beings have interacted their whole existence. Um, so, first of all, I believe that the way that it affects us, it's really unstudied, honestly. And that, considering that there's a lot of studies going on, but still the effects, we're not going to be able to understand them really. Like it's going to have to be some time, like centuries even, for us to understand how it's affecting our evolution, how it's affecting our brain chemistry, our who we are as a species. So mental health for me, I feel it's the biggest reason. Like I think, and I've talked about this with many friends. It's really the stress and the anxiety that it generates for us, especially for the younger generations that are more in contact with technology as we know it now, like computers and social media and
Yeah.
phones. Like we're more assiduous to its use. So we're not really considering the stress and anxiety that it creates for us, and really how it affects and how it disconnects us of the from the rest of the aspects of our lives. That's what really makes it unnatural. The fact that we're not connected anymore to other aspects of our life, like social interactions, contact with nature. So, being able to step away from that, to unplug from technology, I think it's great because it reduces the stress and anxiety. I believe that it improves focus and clarity. I need to have my phone aside when I'm working. Um, but honestly, also to avoid the doom scrolling,
Yeah.
which is the main reason why I set my phone aside. And
Yeah.
then I also think that it encourages mindfulness. I feel like a lot of times we have this bad habit of just filling the time, our spare time with scrolling. And then we don't have the time to really just be mindful of our days, of what we're doing. And I think that unplugging yourself from technology also helps you regulate emotionally better because you're more in tune with what you're feeling and what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, aside from that, it has other physical health impacts. Positively, I feel like when you unplug from technology, you reduce eye strain and dryness. Like blue light is so
Definitely.
harmful for your health, not only for your eyesight, but also for your chemistry, your brain chemistry, what it how it affects your melatonin creation and everything. So it also, I feel like when you disconnect physically, it also helps you encourage more activity, like more physical activity. When you don't
Yeah.
have your phone on your hand, you're more in tune and more inclined to do different things, more physical things. And a lot of people state that screens give them headaches. So obviously, I think that also that. And because of the blue light, when you're able to disconnect earlier from your computer and from your phone, you get better sleep.
Yeah.
And what I mentioned at the beginning, like the melatonin, you're able to produce naturally melatonin and at an earlier hour than if you're on your phone till 2, 3 a.m. So I
Yeah.
also feel like for me, it improves my productivity in a general basis. It helps me stay focused. It helps me boost my creativity. It helps me also prioritize and really also like be more present in my social and family relationships. So I don't know. Do you think that it helps you in other ways?
Definitely. I wanted to bring a word that has been really, really, really famous in the last couple of years, and it's FOMO, or just fear of missing out. And it's just
Yes.
people being anxious about, or this feeling or perception that others are having, I don't know, probably rewarding experiences without you. So
Right.
that's something that leads a sense of like dissatisfaction or just compulsion to stay constantly connected to others, like on social
Totally.
media or just checking emails. Also, I think that that's also it's not only part of like social media, but also work related, or just like events or activities that you might be avoiding or just like missing out because you're not connected. So it's like, is that anxiousness or just that feeling of
Yeah.
being envious or regretful of seeing others experiencing things outside of their phone, just being online? So I think that it's an aspect that has been affecting a lot of people, and some people don't even notice, or like it's like it's part of their life. It's like they're working but they have their phone with them and they're always checking social media, like what
They're
are their
dependent
friends.
on it.
They're depending on it, and that's the scary part, where when you just realize that you have been losing sleep or just all of the bad effects that you just talked about. And it's like, okay, let's take a break. Please be present, engage fully on your current activities, and just stop worrying about what other people are doing. So I think that that's something I really wanted to bring that up in this conversation. Like, if you're really dealing with fear of missing out or just FOMO in a particular context, this episode will definitely help you to get better at that. So, yeah.
Totally, totally. I mean, it sets an unrealistic expectation of reality. I feel like
Mm.
the moment that you can put your phone down and actually see what reality is, you're gonna be more fulfilled, and
Enjoy
that
it.
all those stress levels are gonna go down. Definitely. So let's get practical, Jess. What are some effective strategies for starting a digital detox? What do you do to disconnect from technology?
Okay, so this part for me it's a little bit tricky, and we were talking about that the other day, Gabby. And it was like
Mm.
I'm a social media manager, so in a way I have to stay connected, but there are limits. And those are limits that I have to follow, and those are things that I'm going to tell you that have been working for me. Something that I really like and enjoy doing is just putting like time limits and app blockers. For an instance, in Google Calendar,
Mm.
I put the time where I'm going to be focusing on probably looking for trends, or just searching for real ideas that I have to remake, or yeah, like staying updated on social media. But there's an estimated time that I take during my day to do this. So also there's this fun hack that I really love, and it's setting daily screen time limits. Like, there's a certain option in iPhone. I don't know if in Android. I think there must have, or there should be an app that allows you to block the time on the app that you're using, especially for social media. Like, if you want to limit that time, that would be great. That's I think there are two block distracting apps. One, it's I think called Wellbeing or Screen Time.
Oh
Also,
yeah.
those you can check those online. I haven't used them, but I use the one that it's on my with my iPhone. Also, monitor app use patterns just to like identifying overused platforms. So even though in your iPhone there's an option where you say what's the app that you have been using the most, so that you can probably regulate that amount of time that you're
Yeah.
spending in that app. And focus modes, guys, that's my biggest I think that's my biggest I don't know how to say, like, um exercise to use, or just like a time limit blocker. I have like a specialized focus option in my phone, where it's called not social media. So I put that when I'm working and I need to focus. So sometimes I just have my phone here to, I don't know, probably receive a phone call, but I know I'm not getting all of these notifications that are going to stress me out while I'm working and probably distract me. So that's one of
Yeah.
the strategies that I like to use. And also just schedule tech free periods. This is really important. Like, designate certain hours of the day, such as meal times. For instance, I like to have lunch with my mom and my brother. So I try to like respect that time. I will say that. I'll use that word, because sometimes we know that we have to do a lot of things during the day. But if I respect the time that I have planned with my family, I know that I'm gonna be much like productive at my work, because
Yeah.
I'm just having these separate times where I focus on one thing and then focus on another thing. Also, for me, it's really hard to not use social media during my lunch with my mom and my brother, because that's something I tend to do a lot. I am gonna accept it, and I'm not gonna lie, because it's like, okay, when I'm working, I try to work and not use my phone. So it's like the only free time that I have, it's lunch to
Yeah.
watch social media. but my mom is like, you shouldn't be doing that.
Watch my social media, not the work social media.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like a balance. I think life
Yeah.
it's all about that. Like designate those certain hours that you should be using and not using. I think that's part of being disciplined sometimes too. And just just avoid phone use during your morning and bed routine. I have heard this a lot from a lot of scientists that says that your brain, it's because of the technology, it's like certain, how do you call that? Like I don't remember the word, but it's not good to, as soon as you open your eyes, don't have your phone or any kind of technology around you, because that
Right,
will
because you're
affect our.
conditioning.
Yes,
You're
yes,
you're conditioning your serotonin production to the rush and the what you feel from
yeah.
checking social media
And what you
first
said
thing of the
about the
day.
light blue, it affects a lot, not only your eyes, but your brain. So it's really important to stay away from, um, yeah, like just designate hours, specifically hours during the days. And there are not another, like, I recommend you to look for alternative activities. I am a pro on that. I love to have different things,
Yeah.
even during the week, like creative hobbies like painting, writing, or photography. For instance, tonight I'm going to a poetry space where people is they're just going to read poetry. So search like plans to do at your city that allowed you to disconnect from social media, and also just reconnecting with analog hobbies like puzzles, scrapbooking, or just knitting. I think those are really good, cool hobbies that you can implement in your
Yeah.
daily life. I don't know if you have a special hobby that you use specifically to disconnect from social media. Do you have any?
I love puzzles. I don't have one right now, but just last week I finished the 3D puzzle, more than a
Ooh.
thousand pieces. I finished that. So it really took me time to finish it. And I have like a 3,000 piece puzzle that I'm working on. It takes time because it's like
How
completely
long?
blue. It's taken time. I'm not gonna lie. And it's hard because 3,000 pieces, but I love doing things exactly that force you to
Mm-hmm.
use your hands and other stuff. Because again,
Yes.
like if you're just forcing yourself to leave social media or to set your phone aside, but then you're not replacing that time with other things, like it's a recipe for disaster. You know, it's not it's harder for it to work out, especially like if you're working more than on the fact of leaving social media on your will, on your will strength. So you have to be honest with yourself when you're just starting to do that. You have to be able to fill your time with other things.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely like doing other kinds of activities even outside your house that force you to socialize, that make you pay attention to real life. I feel like that's a great way to start off.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can keep working on your will strength and being able to actually put your phone aside or use your phone specifically for the things that you need, or even say, I'm going to use social media today only 1 hour and no more. So I believe that that's very helpful in that sense. Like, you need to be able to create like to challenge yourself, but don't be unkind to yourself because again, social
Mm-hmm.
media and technology, the way that we use it, we've become dependent on it. And
Definitely.
to just force ourselves and think that we have that willpower on our own, it's being unkind to ourselves and also setting unrealistic expectations of what we could do. Like it's like when it's New Year's and you say I'm going to go to the gym every single day. And maybe you shouldn't start with such an ambitious deadline, an ambitious dream. Maybe you should start saying I'm going to go to the gym once a week and then work from there. So be kind to yourself. I feel like for me what works is that when I feel like I'm too obsessed with Instagram, which is like my doom scrolling app. I say I'm gonna try to limit the time that I use. I use my iPhone. I use the app blocker,
Mm-hmm.
which once I have 1 hour a day in it, I don't use it anymore. And again, it's a lot of willpower, but because iPhone always tells you,
Mm-hmm.
"Are you sure you want to stop using
Yes.
it? You've reached your limit. Are you sure?" And then you have to have willpower to say, "Okay, I'm not going to use it anymore." And
Yeah.
but if that doesn't work, I replace one app for the other. I say I'm not going to use Instagram
Mm-hmm.
anymore, so I go to LinkedIn. And
Yeah.
you may
More
say,
productive.
you know, it's a more productive way to spend my time. I'm still doom scrolling, but I am doing productive things like on
Yeah,
LinkedIn. But
you're
I try
right.
to be kind to myself because again, I use my phone every single day for work and for everything. Like when I go into my app, my wellness app, it's like 6 hours a day of use. And it's a lot of time. So I can't just expect to not use my phone from one day to another. Like you have to be realistic.
And there's a word that you use that I love, and it's challenge, like challenging yourself. And there's something
Yeah.
that it's called detox challenges, and you can start by doing like a 7 day challenge with your friends or with your family or with your partner, just being accountable on like reducing
Okay.
your screen time, like setting measurable goals will help you like reducing weekly phone usage at least by 10 or 20%. And that's really important. Like if you have a partner or a friend or a family member that it's also having that are having those issues with technology, you're gonna say like, okay, mom, let's do something this week. We're gonna see at the end of the day how many hours did I spend on my phone. So we're gonna do, I don't know, like a game, like an award at the end of the week, at the end of the month, like who's gonna win that challenge. So those are really specific strategies and challenges that you can start implementing if you believe that social media has been taking all over your life. I will recommend you that, or probably also how do you call ayunar in English? Fasting social media could
Fasting.
also be,
Uh-huh.
it could be a really good strategy to implement in your day. It could be 2, 3, 4 days or a week. Just start by doing a little changes if you think it's necessary.
Awesome. I love that idea of challenging and it's a good way to use FOMO. Like you get
Yeah.
into this collective mindset with your friends and say like, we can do this, guys. And then you
Yes.
participate and you do something in group that really helps you do something positive.
And also after disconnecting, you will realize that it's not that bad after all.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Okay, so now let's change topic a little bit and talk about boundaries, a topic that many of us struggle with. Technology is essential, but without proper boundaries, it can easily take over our lives, especially when we're working remotely, which is just what we're talking about. For example, a recent study found that 65% of remote workers feel pressure to be always on the computer, to be always on their phone. So, setting boundaries isn't just about work life balance, it's about protecting your mental well being. So, Jess, for you, like how do you think remote workers can set boundaries with technology to achieve balance?
I do think that it's a little bit similar of what we were talking about social media, but especially like work related. I think that this is something that we've always talked about. It's like establishing your working hours, like clearly define when are you going to start and when are you going to end working, because it's what we've been talking about, mental health. It's really important, and we don't want to get you burned out, you know.
Yeah.
Also, like what we were talking about, like calendar tools like Google, just block your personal time, making it non-negotiable. Like if you really have to attend to an appointment, like it, you know, health it's really important. So you're gonna block that time that you're gonna be estimating for that appointment. Also, creating daily rituals. It's really a way of being disciplined. Like walk or coffee break, it seems a little bit like not that important, but when you establish it as a routine, you're gonna notice the difference. Like if you start your day really early or really late, or it depends on how late you go to bed. Like if you try to like establishing a routine, you will definitely notice a difference. And also like implementing shutdown rituals, like logging out of the email at a certain time, probably putting an alarm when you finish your work, or it's like, oh, I forgot, I have to disconnect at this time, I have to disconnect at this hour. So that will help you. Also physical workspace separation, like um, I try to not sleep at the same place
Oh, yes.
where I work, because it's like the day when you open your eyes and then you see your computer right there, it's gonna be like really, it's
You're
not good
already thinking
actually.
of work.
Yeah, so that's not good. If you have the opportunities to separate your workspace from your room or your home, like it's that's the better way of doing it. And also just turning off notifications. You can just customize your notification settings and prioritize only the critical messages during the work. Push up notifications like for social media apps during your working hours. On what we're talking about, the schedule phone, of putting it on not disturb option on periods, to sync your to sync it with your focus time, that you have to deliver an important document that you have to give today, but you know that your phone is going to distract you, so just set that focus or not disturb phone option. And what we were talking, just ritual building support systems, like communicate with your friends and family that you're going to be busy working, setting boundaries with them. I don't know, do you have something that probably has been helping you um, to setting these boundaries and achieving this balance, Gabby? Is there something specifically that you do every day?
Yeah, for example, I you mentioned something about shutting down. Something that I do is because I use my personal computer for work, I have different Chrome tabs, Chrome applications. So once I'm finished working, I close everything that's related to work and I just work on and I keep my personal navigators open only. So that's a good thing that helps me because it avoids me getting notifications, like push notifications from work. And again, if I need to use my computer, that's where I'm at. I try to avoid having apps related to work connected on my phone also,
Mm-hmm.
so that when it comes time to finish working, I close my computer and I don't have to think about work till the next day. What you do also, which is not working in the same space as you sleep, or really you rest in general, I try to avoid that too, because then again, every space that you work in reminds you and puts you in that mindset. So like I said, like if you wake up and you're already thinking about work, it's just you're just more prone to get burnt out, right? So I use those things. Also the buddy system. And I've talked about this before. I have ADHD, and a lot of times, if I am going to be accompanied, I rather be accompanied by someone that's already working. Because if they're
Yeah.
not, I get unfocused very easily. Like if I am here working and you're there just lounging, first of all,
Yeah.
I'm going to be very envious. But then, second
Yes.
of all, I'm going to get distracted easily, even if you're not talking to me, because I'm going to be like, I want to be there with Jess, just watching Friends. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to work. So,
Yeah.
if I'm going to be accompanied, I love to be around people that are also working, even if they're working on different things. Like, it really helps me mirror them in that
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yeah, you're right. You get distracted because you want to do what they're doing too. So it's like
Yeah.
it's not fair. So,
Yeah,
Gabby,
totally.
what roles does self-discipline play in this managing technology effectively?
Wow. So, yeah, we just talked about it a couple of minutes ago, which is first of all, self-discipline is so important. It's essential for any kind of detox that you want to do, any kind of boundaries that you want to set. Um, it's essential because you need to be able to define priorities. You need to be able to
Mm-hmm.
build habits. You need to be able to be kind to yourself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're not going to make it, and that doesn't mean that you have to, you have to push yourself more than necessary, or you have to be unkind to yourself. So I
Yeah.
feel like self-discipline also helps you seek inspiration from
Mm-hmm.
habits. A lot of people think that creativity or habits limit um
Creativity.
inspiration.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I believe otherwise, and I learned this studying the career that I studied, which is journalism. Like, the only way to that you're gonna be able to write well is by writing a lot. Doesn't mean that what you write is good. It just means that you have the habit of doing it. So the same thing applies here. Like, if you have self discipline, you're able to create habits that are healthy for you.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that, to be able to define priorities, you need to clarify and understand what's most important. You need to be goal oriented. You need to
Mm-hmm.
focus on the long term benefits. You need to also consider that a lot of these apps are time wasting apps. Like, it's good to
Mm-hmm.
have Instagram, it's good to have TikTok to know about what else is going on in the world or what's going on with your friends, but you also need to be able to understand that your life is not your phone. Your life is what is
Mm-hmm.
outside of your phone. It really reminds me of this scene in Soul,
Oh yeah.
where the lady is telling the protagonist this joke about the fish trying to find the ocean, and it's pretty much that. Like, you go into your phone trying to see what life is, and you don't notice that life is what is in front of you, like, is what you're doing right now. So really being able to determine that even when the easiest route is to, let me just get some cheap thrills from using my phone and just seeing what
Mm-hmm.
everyone is up to, like, having self-discipline helps you put that aside and really focus on what you really need. So it also helps you build habits, like I said, just like starting little, starting with micro habits, and then just you can use habit trackers. Like, it's not like we're saying that you can't use technology, just try to use it the best way possible for you. So, and then practice patience also to build those habits. Nothing, what did they say? Like, Rome was not created in a day. So make sh- keep in mind that right now it's very hard on a day-to-day basis. It's very hard, but try to think what this is going to look like in 6 months, in 1 year, when
Yeah.
you're going to be able to not be dependent of your phone. And then just that, like, practice that self-compassion. You're not always going to be in your 100%. And actually, I strongly believe that having self discipline is understanding that, knowing your boundaries, knowing that you're not perfect, that you can't always give it your all, and that even in the days that you fail, that you are not able to, you know, comply with that 1 hour of Instagram on a daily basis. You can just say, I'll do better tomorrow, and be better. Like, don't let that demotivate you. Um, yeah, for me, it really looks like that. What would you say, like, works for you when it comes to self-discipline?
I think what you were saying of like thinking about the goals in the future, like something that I'm going to get out of my discipline will be like probably reading a book, um, one book per
Right.
month, then you will at the end of the year you'll have probably 12 books that you've read. If you're not into reading, probably you're into sports and you want to start going to the gym and having a little bit of muscle, then thinking of the results that you will get in the future will help you be determined and start being more disciplined. And what you were saying, that's really true, like being patient with yourself. Like sometimes you're not gonna be able to make it, but and when you make a commitment with yourself and you know you're doing it for a better future, that will help you think about
Yeah.
the benefits that you will receive after all of those discipline tasks that you have been doing. Also, like setting those clear goals. Like now that the year it's ending, actually, doing your, how do you call that in English? Mapa de los sueños.
A New Year's
Like,
resolution, maybe? Like,
yeah,
you say like a dream map? It
like
sounds
a
like a
dream
fancy way
map.
to say New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Let's keep it in a dream map. But when
okay.
you have that dream map, and you know this year you'll start new habits. Let's say new habits, but you try to continue doing the things that have been helping you, and then you put into like perception, into a perspective, like all of the things that you did the last year, and you start realizing, okay, I accomplished this, I accomplished that. What do I need to do better this year to improve and to get this goal that I promised myself? Because sometimes we make promise with ourselves, and it's really hard to fulfill everything. And again, we try to be patient with ourselves, but also it's like a balance. Like try to make things work because of this discipline. So I don't know. It's just I think it's a way of being disciplined. Also, is rewarding yourself. Like celebrate those
Yeah.
milestones on progress. You know when you know that you have accomplished something that you promise yourself, reward yourself. So I think that those are really nice things that we can do to improve in the progress, and just discipline. For me, discipline it's a little bit hard, but those are the things that have been helping me to improve in my discipline. So
Awesome.
yeah. Wow, Gabby, this is such a refreshing discussion. I really don't want it to end. But
Absolutely, Jess. Like, managing technology isn't about cutting it out entirely. It's about using it intentionally to enhance our lives, not control them. Like, let's not let technology control our lives.
yeah, you're right. And just remember that a digital detox isn't just a break, or it's just an investment in your well being.
Thanks for tuning into the Hired Hub. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend who might need a little digital reset. Until next time, I'm Gabby.
And I'm Jess. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and turn on the notifications so that you don't miss any of our new episodes. We post each week to help you build a better work life.
Thanks for joining us, and see you next time.
Thanks for tuning into the Hire Hub. If you loved today's episode, subscribe, comment, and share.
Remember, success in remote work is within reach. We've got your back. See you next time.